tongue is numb, the Keurig's clean. Your dog is dead, it's a Ponzi screen. Ponzi screen, Ponzi screen, because it's just something to do.
Oh man, yeah, we're actually, you guys. I wish the listeners could see what's happening right now. Just because we've chosen to semi-isolate. So we have me and David in one corner, and then Gabe, who just looks like a Beverly Hills Cop in the in the iPhone.
I've been listening to "This Is the End" by The Doors all day and dancing around this room in my apartment like Martin Sheen.
It's really cool. I like this. It's like it's a cool side of game. Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm getting too much in your business, but you did get your eyes altered recently. So this is like you can wear big time sunglasses now,
Yeah, now I wear sunglasses indoors at night.
Yeah.
Cool. That's fucking
scarves.
cool. Yeah, if you didn't have like a rack of books right behind you.
Yeah, that's right.
then
Yeah.
I would totally think that you were like one of those like guys that was like replying to AOC being like, "You communist bastard."
I want to make out with you. Yeah.
Well, I'm taking after my true king, Joe Biden, and I'm wearing sunglasses to sort of become a living embodiment of the memes of him eating ice cream.
Yeah. Just the aviators, the fact that they're not just silver, like they're a very reflective bluish red. It's a great do you just
It's a good way to hide the deer in headlights look that you constantly have.
Yeah. Yeah. Where did that come from?
I am terrified by the pandemic.
Yeah.
And the global collapse of the economy. So
Yeah. I've let Danny into my home, even though I know he's full of germs, and that's because I still refuse to learn how to edit audio on my own.
Yeah.
That's how committed of a Luddite I am. I will allow disease into my home.
Yeah, I'm a disease, dude. I'm a fucking disease. I'm just
Bro, everybody goes through a Lysol cloud before they get to enter my house.
Yeah, it's like in summer when there's like children running through those like sprinklers where it's I heard my roommate doing that earlier today too.
It's like a fire hydrant in Bed-Stuy.
Yeah, exactly.
In the summer, that is.
Yeah.
So boys, here we are. It's Ponzi Scream. We're doing it. Another episode in the middle of the crisis, and I need to know who's on the docket today. Do we have any criminals?
we certainly do have criminals.
So this is a 3-act day.
Yeah.
So we got
A triptych.
one good one because Danny has been complaining a lot about how financial advisors who commit crimes aren't cool enough.
No, yeah, I mean, they're usually just some fucking Poindexter,
Yeah,
know.
they just like buy like really cliche stuff, But like this guy, an ex-Morgan Stanley advisor, was suspended for allegedly selling firearms to his friends. He was selling guns to his friend.
That's fucking badass. By the way.
Yeah, dude. He's a gun runner, man.
What kind of guns was he? I mean, I assume big ones, but like,
I mean, he could be doing antiques. He could be doing like OG Remington repeaters that they used right after the Civil War. Or he could be doing some more gauche stuff like some Taurus 9mm with extension clips and hollow point shells.
Oof. Man, one of the...
I don't know much about weapons.
Yeah, apparently you don't. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, go on.
So he was apparently involved in gunsmithing as well.
What?
This motherfucker. Okay, so this is Benjamin Kaz Fujihara. So he was at Morgan Stanley, and they were approved his request in 2017 to restoring and woodworking firearms.
Wait.
You
So
like
dude's
that,
doing some, like-
gunsmithing. That's very what is it? The Walking Dead. Like he
Yeah.
He would be a valuable asset on Hilltop.
Oh yeah, he would. Yeah, for sure.
That's so interesting. Wait, so he said he had to declare to them, "Hey, I'm also making some guns too."
Yeah, so it's against certain rules, FINRA rules. If you remember FINRA, the so they have some rules about you having outside business basically while you're a financial advisor.
Okay, this is crazy because you're allowed to buy guns and walk into public schools with them. But FINRA won't let you have a side business making your own artisanal pirate guns and muskets.
Dude, this guy would have been great on YouTube. I'm not even joking. I watch these kinds of videos on YouTube where a guy will come up with like a fucking, Mosin Nagant rifle from the Russian, or rather the USSR, and he'll restore it and he'll make it look beautiful. But this is so weird.
So what it was Morgan Stanley allowed him to have a side hustle, his employer, so long as his involvement to gunsmithing involved staying away from using his federal firearms license to act as a firearms dealer. Morgan Stanley also allegedly warned Fujihara that he would need to get written approval before changing the scope of his outside business activities.
God.
Yeah.
Wait, this is so funny.
He was selling them to his friend at Morgan Stanley.
Oh, you can't do that. That you're gonna. Why would you?
Sounds
there's
like
so
his
much.
friend is a snitch. Don't post the weapons on Instagram.
Yeah, man. Don't talk about it on the Slack. They'll read it.
Yeah, you can't just have a friend who is also your coworker and then just post a picture of a fucking Tommy gun and be like, "Oh, it's brand new. Thanks. Oh wait, I shouldn't be posting this. What? I already posted it? Oh no." Like that's the whole caption.
So it was two friends. He sold guns to two of his friends. They asked if he could purchase one rifle for him, and both sales were at cost, quote unquote.
Yeah.
He says that his LLC made zero profits on these sales. They were favors for friends, one of whom is a veteran.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
That's very nice. What was the fine? It said the fine. I saw the number. It wasn't very big, was it?
$5,000 fine.
That's
without admitting or denying. But I think the important takeaway from this is not only now are brokers cool, they are arming for the revolution.
Yeah.
They're getting guns. Are we?
Well, again, they're going to be coming at us with muskets and, like I said, Mosin Nagant USSR rifles and stuff. Meanwhile, like some, our friends in Kentucky and Texas are going to be coming up with like Desert Eagle .50, like, big ass, magnums and shit like that. So something tells me that they will be blown away in the same way that the actual British were blown away when they're decided to wear red to a battlefield.
Oh, yeah. Biggest mistake, man.
Yeah. They're going to be like, oh, they're not standing in a T formation. That's cheating.
What you got to do is you got to get yellow for two reasons. One, it's the color of sun.
Yeah.
And if you look at the sun for too long, you go blind. Enemy is totally vanquished.
Yeah.
Number two, it's the color of cowardice. And if your enemies look at the cowardice for too long, then they themselves become cowardly.
Yeah.
And then they lose.
Yeah.
Never choose red. Red inspires fear.
Yeah, this will be just like when World War I started as well, when like the French were still wearing like a plume. A plumed hat with like feathers. Yeah. But that for the first year of World War I, they legitimately wore like 19th century garb. And then they were like, that's right. We have modern weapons now. So time to invent the Luft helmet, which was like the Nazi
I don't remember
helmet.
who it was. I think it was the Polish that were charging with lances on horses against Panzer tanks.
Yeah. Polish went down real fast.
That sucks, man. That fucking sucks.
The Austro-Hungarians. They went down. They were a liability for the Germans for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't tell you.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's what's gonna.
Whatever happened to the Hungarian like hegemony, man? Like Hungarians were part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Why did they all of a sudden get sidelined to being some second tier bitch? I've never seen the rise of the Hungarians again. Like that's just never really.
The Austro-Hungarians were a power couple, and then when they broke up, Austro just kept going, and Hungary.
Yeah. No, I think
I think Yeah, it's just,
Dude, I think they kind of got the better deal out of. I think they both won because Austria gets to continue being Austria, where Mozart's from, being very
and Hitler,
being very just sort of regal and stuff. And then Hungary just gets to be like Budapest, party center. They don't Hungary comes out great compared to Poland, which is just the European whipping boy. Just always getting fucking owned again and again. Meanwhile, Hungary's just sort of like, yeah, we like to do ecstasy all day in Budapest. You know,
Yeah, they're like a cooler. I mean, they're like an even cooler Prague.
yes,
Is always the way that I think of Budapest. Of just like, oh yeah, Prague is over. You know, like
yeah. Prague is too cold. What's
Yeah.
he talking about?
like Prague is like Austin 2015, and Budapest is Austin in 1999.
yes,
you know,
yes.
Like
yeah.
much cooler.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm glad that guy that got fined $5,000.
Yeah. So what happens when you read the financial press all day? You
Yeah.
just find out weird shit like this. So Mr. Fujihara, good luck with your 30-day suspension. You will be like Gabe.
Yeah.
You'll be like
fun employed.
Yeah,
All
baby.
of my jobs canceled, by the way. I work with kids at a museum, and now you're not allowed to work with kids at museums because coronavirus.
Hey,
Yes.
drink that. Find your own beach, Gabe.
Yeah.
Coronavirus.
I'm and then also stand up out of the question now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Are anyone's shows still going on? Has anyone been like, we refuse?
I've heard of a couple people, not in New York, but just in general, like, well, I don't know. I think there's two sides. It's like, this isn't a Republican-Democrat thing.
No, dude, I feel like a stand-up comic, our lifestyle would lead us to become the Gwyneth Paltrows from Contagion or that little monkey from Outbreak. You know,
Yeah.
because you're hitting, you know, the lifestyle is like hitting 2 to 3 mics a night, where you're in contact holding the same microphone and touching at least 30 other people at each venue.
Yeah.
And then the whole audience is packed in as tight as possible.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just like we would be the carriers, the vectors, you know.
Think about
absolutely.
Think about what humping the stool would do.
Yeah. Oh my God. Actually, humping the stool would probably be the most sanitary thing you could do. It has nothing to, you know, it's through your jeans. It's got a denim block, you know, there's no.
Danny, you're not humping the stool right, man.
But man, you're not getting any fluids on the stool. You aren't even living.
Wearing denim jeans is like having a face mask on your crotch. You'll be fine. You know, there's nothing. It's totally safe.
Yeah, dude, my dick has had corona for years.
You guys ever raw dog the stool?
That's the next level is somebody pulling down their full pants and then just doing a Will Ferrell from Step Brothers and rubbing their balls on
I mean,
the stool.
the Creek in the Cave used to have the Naked Show.
Yeah.
And, both the
Yeah.
audience and the comedians would get naked. And at one point, I think there was a message that went out that said, please, if you're going to be naked in the audience,
Be
put
hot.
something down to cover the seat.
That fucking venue is maybe this is
Party- Party City.
This is what finally does the creek in like it just gets taken out by by the coronavirus. That place still just persisting, you know, after all
Dude,
these
it
years.
persists, and every year there's a different innovative experimental show there. I think it's the only place in the city that you could see a show like that. So
Yeah.
True. God bless.
God bless.
I still love the fact that like
God bless.
a venue that sounds like a Bon Iver album was hosting the alt-right a year ago.
That's right. That's right.
The
I
Creek
forgot.
in the Cave. Like it's just like it's
Milo
like,
Yiannopoulos.
yeah. So anyways,
Yeah.
Speaking of the alt-right, I guess, and
this
disease, Mr. Alex Jones is in trouble again. Oh no!
Yeah, well, Alex Jones, it's funny because when David told me about Alex Jones getting in trouble, my first thing was like, oh, you mean the DUI? And then David proceeded to say, what? Because this is not the only thing that Alex Jones did this week. Not only did Alex Jones get a DUI recently, but apparently because of coronavirus, he's been selling a toothpaste that he says will
fight the virus.
It'll fight the
You need
virus.
a nootropic toothpaste that's going to be able to help your body battle all the microbes and be antiviral. Okay, this is 100% guaranteed, scientifically approved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no,
He says this product could act as a quote stopgate against
that is what he would say. That's what he'd say.
against the
It's not
virus.
a firewall. A firewall is something the Democrats use in North Carolina. This is a stopgate.
No, folks, it's
Like
not
the
a firewall.
Spartans
That's
used
what
in
they
the
do to
Battle of
keep me.
Thermopylae against Cyrus and his horde of Persians.
Yeah. What you got to do, folks? I can't do his voice for too long. It truly hurts my throat to do it. Folks, it's going to be a firewall, not like the ones that keep me off of the websites I like to do, folks.
It's a stopgate against the virus that his, quote, super blue, it's called super blue toothpaste, which is funny.
Yeah.
Kills the whole SARS corona family at point blank range.
Hell yeah. Now I'm seeing the Brady Bunch squares in my head, and I'm like, okay, well, Corona's on one square. We've got SARS on another square.
Yeah.
Ebola's the distant cousin.
Goodness gracious. There, and then it just says immediately below that there are no products, vaccines, or drugs approved to treat or cure the virus. Folks, I'm over here in my bunker, still drunk from when I was driving my car earlier. Sham product. Apparently, this is a big deal, though. Like
we talked about this, like maybe 4 or 5 episodes ago, about how this is before when it was still in China or something. The SEC had a warning about investment opportunities to invest in the cure, and they were like, "Be careful, everyone."
Yeah,
this is the thing. And so Alex Jones, probably, I mean, what I really want this show to be, especially, and what I want is the same way that Alex Jones probably treated that press release, is for an opportunistic person to treat a dire warning and criticism as an opportunity to create their own scam and to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
That's what I want from this show. And so when you hear of us talking about how horrible things are, we're really saying wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Do your own thing, man. Follow your heart.
Look,
invest in your own sham today.
Anybody that listens or reads fiction has seen the Alex Jones story told before. And if you've watched Contagion, that's Jude Law's character is a blogger who promotes this herbal supplement called Forsythia that's supposed to stop whatever the viral plague is that's infecting everyone. And then if you read World War Z, that's another book that kind of deals with this concept of trying to the tension between our capitalist incentive to create products versus a more communal idea of taking care of the public good. And like in World War Z, this guy creates a fake vaccine. If you get bit by zombies, he's like, hey, this drug Phalanx will help you. Take this supplement, Phalanx. So all these people run out and they buy Phalanx and they think that it'll be okay. They can like socialize around zombies. But no, the bite,
it's just like a sugar pill.
Kill you.
It's just like a sugar pill or something?
Yeah, it's a sugar pill.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
cool.
this dovetails very nicely too into that guy. I mean, this is a little related, but like that guy who also bought 18,000 bottles of like cleaning supply, or like what was Purell?
17,000 bottles of Purell
and other sanitary wipes and what have you. And then the New York Times did a thing about him about how he can't sell $17,000 of stuff that he hoarded, and then the world and all news media and people promptly insinuated, donate this or we'll kill you. Like everyone was just like, if you do not give away the stuff that you are hoarding from people, we will murder you.
But I don't know. I mean, maybe David, you might have my opinion on this is that he is just a version of what every American is trained to do on steroids.
Yeah.
It's like he had already trained himself to do this, selling sneakers and like tickets to concerts that
hustle
he purchased ahead of time to increase the value by increasing the scarcity.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like this is like, oh yeah, man, New York hustle, buy 17,000 bottles of Purell and price gouge the shit out of it. Like that's the natural endpoint of people being like, hey, can't knock the hustle. Like he's making something of himself. He's contributing to the economy. But, I mean, it's like this is it shows how really vapid those things end up becoming when you're doing something that is not actually good for society.
Yeah.
These are one of the times where something that's good for the economy is very, very clearly not the same thing as good for society.
Yeah, so
and
like,
they're actually adverse to each other.
I know that there's a difference. This is kind of like where I thought the idea of insider trading feels a little murky to me. In the same way, the idea behind making a profit versus profiteering, that also seems like a nebulous area for me, because everybody who makes money off of war to me is a war profiteer.
Yeah.
But we've sanctioned some people where where that's acceptable. Or like, why is Jeff Bezos and Amazon selling hand sanitizer right now different than this guy selling it?
I mean, I think that if you were a full-blown communist, then you would say there's no difference between profit and profiteering. But then, like most people on the left, just say there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, which is kind of the same thing of like all forms of like monetary exchange are oppressive in some way inherently. I think that commerce is inevitable. Like, not like anyone asked me, I guess. So thanks for
David,
asking,
is
guys.
commerce inevitable?
I think I think that trade, even in a barter system, is an inevitable function of human society. It will always happen. And the question is, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to steer it in a way that is actually egalitarian? And I think that's kind of the real question of like that. That's the $64,000 question of communism, right? Is like, what do you actually? How do you negotiate the exchange of resources in a way that's not inherently oppressive,
Cruel or unusual,
right? And I guess though, that's like also kind of an idea behind like decommodification. Like, what does it mean to commodify a product? To commodify something in this world, and when you do that, what sort of kind of like oppression comes into that? So when you say Purell is being created by the state, it's going to be administered and given to everyone for free, that is a decommodified product. That is just a thing available for free to everyone, universally for the specific purpose of containing a virus. Whereas if you commodify it, it's on Amazon, it's available at cost, or it's available for a small profit for them.
And you
or
can get it in different flavors. Or with
you can get it in different flavors. You can it's available for a small profit, so that way Amazon can throw their dick around and basically like use monopoly power to kind of kick out competitors.
Yeah.
And then, or you can do like what this guy did and basically do like straight up price gouging.
Yeah. It's not like I don't think there's like if you extrapolate it enough, you find Amazon to be at fault to an extent with all their other crimes against humanity too. This guy was just an idiot and put a target on his back.
Yeah, I think some people on the left would be like, oh yeah, there's no difference between this guy, this $17,000 17,000 Purell bottle guy and Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of people who would make that argument. I think that it's an interesting argument for sure.
Well, like my thing is that I don't want to make him the scapegoat, because to me it feels like when we watched The Big Short together.
Yeah.
At the end of The Big Short, they made one stockbroker the scapegoat and fall guy for the entire financial collapse.
Totally.
And he was like small fries. So even though this guy is very amoral for hoarding whatever it is, 21,000 vials of Purell or whatever, he is not the reason that everything is collapsing.
Yeah. It's
that's right.
It's like it's like me in the summer when I will walk by my block and there will be a fire hydrant on, and it'll be on for literally a week straight, and I'm like, God damn it, why is this wasting so much water? But in reality, the amount of water that fire hydrant wastes is still comparatively small to like how much it just gets used by like, whatever like microchip corporation, that needs a lot of water, or however many like sprinklers get used by like rich people,
or like the use of by industries, a factory using an entire like just funneling a river in and using all of the river water to industrially cool it's a textile factory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like you have to train yourself.
Or me, who's been using for my bed a running toilet Just for 15 years, I've just been having the toilet running over my head while I sleep.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a little bit wasteful, frankly.
Yeah.
That's just how I sleep. It's a Jewish thing. You guys wouldn't understand. It's a ritual.
Yeah,
It's a ritual.
well, it's peaceful. The sound of a waterfall.
Yeah, exactly. yeah.
Yeah, no, look, I got one of those ambient sound. Look at it. You can just buy one of these, David.
I'm using 30,000 gallons of water a day for it.
Look, do not oppress my people.
But yeah, so Alex Jones, he got caught by the New York Attorney General Letitia James. She said, as coronavirus continues to pose serious risks to public health, Alex Jones has spewed outright lies and has profited off of New Yorkers' anxieties. She said that his claims are incredibly dangerous. And yeah, I think that's kind of the whole story.
Also, just like one of the many things out, like I said, not only did Alex Jones get a DUI this week, not only is he getting told by the state of New York, please stop selling toothpaste that doesn't kill coronavirus, but he's also as we speak, in the middle of a court case that basically or just got done basically litigating a situation where the people whose children died in the Parkland shooting can now officially sue him.
Sandy Hook. I meant to say Sandy Hook.
So this is like small potatoes for Alex Jones, comparatively speaking.
Yeah, I mean, I do respect. He's like, I must keep committing crimes.
I must be litigating something at every juncture.
Don't knock the hustle.
Yeah.
ABC, baby. Always be conning.
Yeah.
Oh, also, another part of this story. This is from the New York Times. On Monday, the Trump administration issued warning letters to 7 companies that were selling fraudulent coronavirus products, including teas, essential oils, tinctures, and colloidal silvers, in order for them to take corrective measures. So, the Jim Baker show, which
Jim
is
Baker, I think.
It's Joe Baker?
I think it is Jim Baker.
Oh, that's
yeah.
Stupid. Spell your name right,
It's
Baker.
it's spelled Bakker, so I can see why you.
More like Bakkk. But he was allegedly selling products labeled to contain silver and misleadingly saying they could treat and cure the coronavirus. So then Letitia James also sent a cease and desist letter to Baker Show to stop allowing the sale of colloidal silver, in which small flakes of silver are suspended in fluid. After a guest claimed it could eliminate the disease within 12 hours. Colloidal silver is not safe or effective to treat any disease or symptoms, according to the FDA. It can even be dangerous to a person's health. I know.
What? Are you telling me putting heavy metals in your body are not good for you? That's crazy.
So there's, I want to show you guys something. Because actually I know somebody in my life who was raised in an organic household, vegan household, and they had her taking colloidal silver all the time. And there was a man who turned blue from having too much colloidal silver.
Oh, this man,
dude!
Oh,
Gabe, check this out.
Turned into a Smurf.
Look at him. He turned actually blue.
Oh, dude,
the blue
that's
man.
horrifying.
Yeah, he took too much colloidal silver.
He looks like
and
an
now
alien in that show, Bright.
Yeah, he does. He looks. For context, this man is purple.
Straight up, man.
Straight up purpley blue. Yeah,
he
looks like a plum.
He is Veruca Salt post bubblegum.
Oh, this is but
If
that's
Lean was a person, he looks like Lean.
Yeah, he does look like Lean, dude. No, dude. Oh my, no. He is just he's wearing suspenders. He knows he looks like a fucking Smurf.
Yeah, he's really leaning into it.
Oh yeah, I mean, good for you, I guess. You gotta have a brand. But yeah, he died after. Then he had a heart attack and a stroke.
Yeah,
because he took too much colloidal silver. So anyways, it's not going to cure coronavirus, but it will give you a cool social media presence.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, me, I'm not into that. I'm taking colloidal copper so I can turn green as hell, man.
That'd be cool. Statue of Liberty. That's what you're going
I want to turn green.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's all kind of happening. There's all this price gouging and stuff like that. eBay and Amazon are notifying sellers.
So that's juicy. We've covered two criminals today, and what else we have going on?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I wanted to talk about something that's a little bit different from the coronavirus. If that's cool with you guys. I mean,
you know, we'll keep you in the loop as far as all virality and disease related things go, of course.
but I think now we should talk about arbitration. I guess is really a big one.
Arbitration is what we're going to be talking about tonight.
It's something that we've been
specifically.
wanting to talk about for a while because it is in dispute, and it's one of the things that like liberal Democrats and moderate Democrats both think is a necessary thing. This is like one of the like Obama, Biden, even like Clinton initiatives that is like really good for like consumers and stuff like that, basically. So arbitration reform. So arbitration. I mean, do we know what arbitration is?
Absolutely not.
I can let me tell you what I think it is.
All right.
Based off of the thing that happened to me. Because one time I took a landlord to court back in Portland. This must have been 10 years ago. But before we got there, me and my roommate at the time got so afraid of the idea that we could actually have to pay him $2,000 or whatever because he countersued us back. We sued him
shit.
and he countersued us. So before we did that, before we were about to go to court, we said, I guess we will end up doing the arbitration thing. And then we did. And
Wow.
we went to like a room and we arbitrated and we got nothing.
You guys lost.
So we lost. Well, nothing happened. We just we sued him initially, and then
Okay.
he countersued us as a threat, essentially.
Got it.
And then we both came away with zero, essentially.
Oh, so you just agreed to disagree.
Yeah. So that was our arbitration, essentially.
So where was the arbitration? Was it like in a lawyer's office?
It was actually in a courtroom, but it was like in a side courtroom where he said like, you owe me, or we were like, we were forced to pay this amount when it only cost this amount. And then he said, that's not how much it costs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it was basically just this weird fugue state we were both in. We were like, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. Like, and there was like a person there who was like, you're both wrong. So, yeah, that was my version of arbitration.
I think that pretty much sums it up, and I don't think we need to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, problem solved.
So like, I mean, it is side court. I think that you put it easily. Arbitration is side court.
Side court, yeah.
And it has basically legal. It's not like a traditional judge. You can have anyone be an arbitrator. There are arbitrators that have specific certifications. Thing called like the American Arbitration Association is like a big one. You don't even have to have a law degree to be an
AAA.
arbitrator. Yeah, AAA.
You're like
AAA.
a notary of the public.
Yeah.
You get a little certificate. You put it on your vest right next to your cuddle party lifeguard certification.
Yeah, and your I voted sticker,
Yeah. The nerdiest Boy Scout on earth. So I mean, arbitration is that, and this is the Democrats have constantly wanted to, basically they have wanted to reform it such that it doesn't become so ubiquitous. It has become a part of so much of our lives, all the time. I mean, like, if you look at the fine print of anything you buy, by the time you open up the package, just you consenting to arbitration, which is something that happens, which is very strange.
Yeah.
So like there are some claims that, like basically if you open up the package, any liability claims like
shit not functioning correctly.
Yeah. So and that like makes you, that causes you harm. Like there's some malfunction in the design, some malfunction in the creation of the product, or some failure to warn.
Yeah, like
these sorts of liability. You like sting your hand on an iPhone.
Yeah,
From
you get your new bidet from an online seller, and basically it says once you put this on your toilet, it basically guarantees that if you do blow your balls off with your new bidet, they're not liable for anything.
Yeah, you have to go to arbitration to settle it. Basically.
Yeah, your ballless self has to go there, and no balls in a place where a guy goes like, I bet you're arbitrating me with no balls right now, and you're like, oh, I am here. Oh,
Now, Is arbitration the way that Donald Trump got out of so many lawsuits in his past?
I mean, that's how a lot of people get out of lawsuits because it's. I mean, arbitration can be both formal and informal. Like if you're gonna go, it can be part of the lawsuit itself. It can be like I file a complaint against you in court, and then you guys agree to move it to arbitration.
Yeah, because arbitration could be a part of a settlement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can lead to a settlement. You know?
Yeah.
So it's just like an out of court. Basically, I mean, the easiest answer of an arbitration is just like a negotiating table. That's like the easiest way to understand what arbitration is. It's just like either you have an agreed upon process for this specific issue to resolve this specific thing, and you enter and like you guys both consent to the process, and then you follow the process through. And you see who wins.
It sounds great. So you mean we don't have to go to court? We can just sit at a table. We get Starbucks brought to us by our assistants. What's the problem?
I mean, it's certainly cheaper for the employer, or not for the employer, for the
government.
Usually for the defense.
Yeah.
Usually for the defense, it's cheaper than going to court, right? Because if you're a plaintiff, you're going to hire an attorney who is getting a contingency fee, meaning they're only going to get paid if you win. But for the defense, it's expensive to go to court. It takes forever. You got to hire lawyers. You got to respond to all these briefs. It could take years to deal with this like bidet that blew off some guy's balls in Brooklyn, you know? And it just take forever. So they want to go to arbitration to make it go faster. The problem with that is that courts are complicated and slow and inefficient because for a reason.
By design.
By design. They are like, it is supposed to be a slow and inefficient process because the inefficiency is where you get a fair hearing from both sides.
Yeah.
It's where you get your rights to civil procedure. Things like that. And like the ability to like get all evidence on the table, to get all witnesses heard, to make sure that there's not some like shitty motion that's gonna, end this thing very quickly. Whereas in an arbitration, if you're a plaintiff or if you're like Danny who's suing his landlord for getting his balls blown off, then you might not know all the details of arbitration. You're just gonna get some lawyer, and they're gonna be like, "We're gonna go to arbitration." They say, "Okay, fine." What oftentimes will happen is your lawyer and their lawyer will get together. They'll each choose an arbitrator, and then the two arbitrators themselves will get together and choose a third arbitrator.
What the fuck?
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy.
That seems unnecessary. Yeah.
So that's the idea behind it, right? Is that you guys have an arbitrator, they have an arbitrator, and then the two arbitrators choose the third arbitrator, and that creates a 3 arbitrator panel to rule on the arbitration.
A triumvirate.
Triumvirate.
So you're getting like your own little mini jury, essentially.
You get your. Yeah, I mean, well, they're the judge and the jury at the same time.
That's so. It's definitely. I think the other thing too that I think you sort of touched on was like the idea that like when you arbitrate something, you're keeping it out of the court system, so you're keeping it in the dark somewhat. Like
that is exactly right. I did not bring that up, but that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, that's like kind of one of the reasons. I mean, this is a little bit of an aside, but like that's why like WeWork crashed so hard is because once they filed their S1 and said like these are how much assets we actually have and how we're going to make money, and how they were like, no, this is how we'll make money. Everybody was like, that's not how you make money. Like they exposed what happened, and because that got sort of dragged out into the light, because like that particular type of filing form requires that you basically explain how you're going to do everything, people were like, no. And that is, that's kind of why it sounds like that's one of the bad.
Sunshine is the best disinfectant kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. And like, I think arbitration kind of seemed also kind of like one of those things that got popular because like court systems were overworked,
Yeah, I mean, that's like kind of true, but like, it's also like a symptom of like crony capitalism, of really just like big corporations inserting arbitration, like mandatory arbitration in every single consumer agreement that you purchase.
It got overused. It got abused.
And it becomes part of like employment contracts, employment agreements, any sort of like any consumer agreement, antitrust sort of issues, even civil rights. You might not even know what sort of like situation you could be in where like you are signing an employer agreement, and little did you know that in the fine print you are signing away your right to go to court over suing your employer for civil rights violations.
Yeah.
And Danny's exactly right. The whole purpose of the legal system being in the open is so that everyone can see it, so that way people can judge you. First off, it's important, right?
Yeah, for all the messy bitches.
Yeah, you got to create drama
because the press can write about anything that happens in court, but they don't necessarily see what's happening during arbitration.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So
I feel like that's like a big part of it, where they're just sort of like one of the underlying points of arbitration is that like they'll write in a contract where it's just like, this will not be public. Furthermore, you are going to sign an NDA.
That's
you
right.
know?
That's right. That's right. So they want to keep it private. They want to keep it quiet, keep it out of the press, and that influences public opinion. So we have no idea all the bad things that big bad boys might be committing because they agreed to arbitrate, and then they agreed to privately settle as well.
Yeah.
And so that's one issue which influences policy, right? Because if we knew all the bad things that they were doing, then we would probably be a lot more upset at bad guys, and we'd want things to change, right?
You bad guys are doing bad things.
Yeah. And so but the thing from a legal perspective, it also has issues because it is not in the like legal record. And how our law works is it is based on precedent. It is based on
precedent.
Yeah.
Precedent.
Okay, precedent.
Not Precedent.
Yeah.
What other judges have said in the past influences future judges, right? Because how a judge rules is precedent, and that is given weight. And you have to basically defer oftentimes to the past. That's why the law is inherently a conservative institution, is because of its admiration of precedent.
Yeah.
And so, but at the same time, that helps build the law. That helps build our understanding and our the specifics of certain cases, of certain areas of the economy and of life. Like if we didn't arbitrate everything, then we would know just how fucked up this ball-busting bidet would be, and there would be plenty of case law on how fucked up the ball-busting bidet would be, and a judge would better be able to understand, why this ball-busting bidet is the fault of the manufacturer, not
just me cleaning my balls too much.
Not the fault of Danny.
Does this go a little bit into like, let's say with we'll take Harvey Weinstein, and he had a track record already of committing assaults, but then he would get like the women that would come forward, they would get bullied into settling for a cash settlement, and then they'd have to sign an NDA. So there was this like, years of these abuses that had kind of been not put on the public record because the cases had been settled.
Yeah. I mean,
does that
yes.
Yeah. So then when it finally comes to the surface, he's only getting charged for a couple people when he had this whole string of people who have already settled.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It ultimately favors the defense, and the defense oftentimes are the powerful.
Yeah.
It's kind of an easy, like a very, very simplistic way of looking at it. But generally, if you hear like an attorney is a defense attorney, unless they're a public defender, a defense attorney is generally an attorney that deals whose clients are the wealthy and powerful.
Yeah, I think the Weinstein example is like it's sort of halfway there, because It would be, I think an arbitration thing would be like if you walk into Harvey Weinstein's office and you immediately sign a paper that says, "Hey, if Harvey Weinstein rapes you, it's not you got to go arbitrate."
Yeah.
Where, like his things, I think more fall into just the straight up settlement. Like it's like there's no. Like he allegedly does something, and then there's like a settlement thing. I think the arbitration thing is more for like not civil, where it would be stuff that wouldn't be on SVU, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I mean, like that certainly makes a lot. Like, don't go to the police. Here's some money. Would be it's certainly like a criminal cover up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true, but it's the same principle for both, in my opinion.
For sure, yeah, it's definitely in the same genus.
Yeah. So what happened was, this past year, the Democrats passed it in the House. This arbitration reform that would basically make invalid mandatory arbitration clauses in a huge swath of the economy and life invalid. Okay, so upon signing an employment agreement, if it says that you have to if you have to arbitrate a civil rights claim, this new law would basically invalidate that clause of that employment agreement. That passed the House in October, and
what happened in the Senate?
late September. Yeah, it's a good law. It failed. I mean, it didn't go anywhere. Obviously, I mean,
it got shot down.
Yeah, it got
Are
shot
you
down.
telling me something got shot down in the United States Senate, David?
No
Because I
way.
do not believe you.
Yeah, exactly. So this is something that was like even people as like moderate as like Amy Klobuchar and Pete Buttigieg were calling for like arbitration reform. This is a very like straightforward. We got to protect consumers. Like it's not even that much of like a pro worker thing. It kind of is, but it's not like. It's pro worker in the sense of like, we need to like have more employment discrimination lawsuits that go to court instead of like we need to protect the labor movement.
Yeah, it you know
Those
what
are
it does?
different things.
It falls in that weird little discrete crack where like arbitration court isn't a thing that the people on the other side are like making fuck tons of money off of. It's like the only people who like profit off of that or whatever are like the literal ghouls who are like, you've got your balls blown off by me. Like it's just those guys. Like if there was some bureaucratic, mechanism that made it so like it was incredibly profitable to keep it, then I can assure you Joe Biden and Amy Klobuchar and like all those fucking losers would be like, well, it's just a choice that Americans should have. You know?
And it's not an inherently like, class analysis. It's very much like still in the like we have to protect consumers kind of a thing. And like obviously protecting consumers is nice, but it's still fundamentally kind of or like we have to protect like specific employees in a firm from bad things happening to them. It's not like we have to protect the working class.
Yeah.
Which is just a fundamentally different way of thinking about it. So anyways, this is a thing that was popular. It died in the Senate. Some states like Kentucky and Virginia, they want it to curb the use of arbitration agreements as well. So how this ties into the financial sector is FINRA has its own arbitration court just for the financial sector.
That's right. I remember this.
So
it's so fucked up.
So FINRA, as we've talked about a couple times, FINRA is a self-regulatory organization which was founded in the last maybe 25 years, which gets legal authority to enforce securities laws for broker-dealers from the SEC, but is a corporation. It's a private corporation.
Okay.
And they have their own arbitration system. And in the arbitration system, there are all sorts of really weird little loopholes and weird little things about it. And it's been a topic of huge discussion about what they would do about like all these weird issues for it. For example,
Probably something Elizabeth Warren has mentioned back when her candidacy was happening or something.
Yeah, I mean, this is the sort of stuff that Warren would really get into. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like this we're really showing the spectrum, right, of the former Democratic candidates, from Pete and Amy, just like generic arbitration reform, to like Liz Warren, like no, we're gonna go into like really deep, hardcore arbitration reform. You know, where she's like, there is some, and she actually did talk about how there was some issues with it. She like wrote a letter when she was a senator.
Are you telling me Elizabeth Warren wrote a letter? That's crazy. No, what?
She did. She got into it, man. She got into it. She said she saw it. So basically, one really crazy thing about the arbitration process with FINRA is this thing called expungements. So in FINRA arbitration, so anytime that you have a securities lawsuit against a broker, instead of it going to court, it gets arbitrated by this FINRA arbitrators, right? And if you get a complaint lodged against you, it goes on your record called broker check. And we talked about this before, right?
I love broker check.
We've seen broker check before. It shows all the little red dots of all the little crimes you committed or all the little crimes you've been accused of.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the financial industry's own little like accountability system, right? Them kind of trying to own up to their own
We
thing.
put a little dot by your name.
We put a little dot by your name, and so that's kind of their own thing about like precedent, right? Like if you're a consumer, you want to look for a broker, you look on broker check, they see that they've been accused of 8 crimes, they were found guilty of 6. Okay, you probably don't want this guy, right? Brokers,
You want the guy that committed all 8.
yeah,
You want
I
a
want
real
somebody committed,
dirtbag.
You know,
yeah.
if
I
you're
want a
gonna
big-
swing for the fences.
Hey
That's
man,
fucking
why
true.
would you want to have sex with a virgin? You know what I mean? you want a real woman. You want a real woman, all right? Someone who can really, show you the ropes.
So basically, for brokers who have won their cases, basically, they were accused and they were found not guilty by these arbitrators who might be, that 3-panel arbitrator system, right? They were found not guilty of these violations, but it's still on their broker check. They want to expunge their record. So in expunging your record is what high school rich kids in the suburbs do when they get a DUI.
I was just gonna say that. I was just thinking that.
This is what you do. So if you're 16 and your dad is a doctor and you get a DUI and your dad hires his friend who's an attorney to take you to court, and you say, look, we want to take care of this. We don't want this kid on he's a young kid.
He's a very good boy.
He's a very nice young white boy, and he's a good one. So let's.
He's white. He's white. He is white. Let me reassure you.
We want to expunge his record. That means you get his, even though he was found not guilty of this DUI, because your dad's friend is a expensive lawyer. They still want to expunge the record, get it off, even the accusation off of his record, and so. Expungement is a huge thing. Happens all the time. Like if you go spend any time on the FINRA arbitration website, which I know all of us who listen to this show
Yeah,
do.
dude, yeah, brother. I got Facebook. If I put an F into my browser, it goes to the FINRA, FINRAarbitration.com.
I get notifications.
Yeah.
Mine goes to findbabes.com. But
David just hunched over his laptop like, come on, I gotta find him.
Find babes. There's find babes and find babes.
I want to see if that's a website.
I don't know. It's probably like something for like finding like cows who have gone missing or something. But anyway, so like they want to get. So if you look on the FINRA arbitration website, every day there's probably like 8 arbitration settlements or like 8 arbitration decisions that are posted. 6 of them usually are about expunging someone's record, expunging a broker's record, and it happens so frequently that FINRA itself is like, whoa, this is too much. We're like getting away with this is like so clearly bad, I guess. So so FINRA wants to do 4 things, and that they're already in the process of making these changes. But there's all like I've spoken to a couple attorneys who are like Some of them are plaintiffs' attorneys. Some of them are defense attorneys. And they have their own like weird little issues. But FINRA is fixing probably 4 things. One, they are going to create a specialized pool of expungement arbitrators. So in the securities industry, you have arbitrators who handle all sorts of claims, right? You have like, this broker was charging excessive fees. This financial advisor was having us invest in funds that were like not good for us. They weren't living up to their fiduciary duty, for whatever reason.
Yeah,
right?
this broker stole my website findbabes.com, which is available. You can buy findbabes.com on wherever you buy domains.
I think we should start selling Purell on findbabes.com.
Yeah, exactly. I just looked it up. Go on, David.
So anyway, what they want to do is they want to have specialized pool of expungement arbitrators who they would only exist to review expungement claims, because there are so many of them and there are so many arbitrators who have no idea even like all the details of the expungement, because there's all these standards for why a claim should be expunged. If it's like, it has to be like a clear like false situation. Like, I accuse Danny of charging me excessive fees on the moon. This could just never happen.
This is my moon.
This is a thing that would just never. It physically cannot happen. But in other times, it could just be like I don't know, that it's clearly erroneous, or that the registered person was not involved in the alleged fraud or violation. So like, if I say Gabe did this when really it was a guy named Labe. And he
yes, David. Labe Pacheco. I like that.
Yeah.
It's just a case of mistaken identities. I see.
Mistaken identity, yeah. So I accuse you, but then it still shows up on your broker check. Okay, well, that's kind of fucked up, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you want to get that expunged. I'm not Labe. And then the last
I'm in
one.
a Kafka-esque nightmare.
Yeah, you're a bug. It's horrible for you.
So then the last one would be that it's false. But like, what does false mean? Like, if I accuse Danny of not obeying his fiduciary duty, and then arbitrators decide that my claim was insufficient, does that mean that my claim was false? Or does that mean that I just didn't win?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You didn't have enough evidence.
Yeah, it didn't have enough evidence. Like,
there's no clarification to it.
Like, okay, so you remember with the OJ trial when OJ won the criminal, but he lost the civil?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Gabe, why don't you explain that?
So O.J. Simpson was tried in a criminal court, and there was not enough evidence to prove that he murdered Ron Goldman and Nicole Simpson. And then immediately after he was not guilty, right? Because it's a jury of your peers, and the jury, they said that there's reasonable doubt that he didn't do it. And part of it was that Mark Furman was a racist police officer, so the trial was tainted.
Yeah.
So he's off. Criminal court, he is innocent, but right after that he went to civil court, and civil court is you can't go to jail if you get charged guilty in civil court. Civil court's like, you just have to pay a fine. So, but the burden of proof is much less high in a civil court than it is in a criminal court.
Yeah.
So he was obviously found guilty, and then so he has to pay like Ron Goldman's parents in perpetuity some big portion of his fortune.
That's right. So the difference is that there wasn't enough evidence to convict him of criminal stuff, but there was enough for civil, because the standards are different in criminal versus civil.
Yeah.
So like, basically, there's all these arbitrators who have no idea that there's a difference in standard in whether to get your expungement found not true by law, or whether it was like false such that it should be expunged.
Yeah, because they're not even real people. There's no standards to it.
Yeah, because these are just arbitrators. They're not
just
judges.
They're just dudes.
They're just dudes. They might have a law degree. They might not. There's no need. So basically, FINRA's like, we are going to have special people who are just expungement arbitrators. And if you want to expunge your record, you have to talk to these people only, because they actually know the difference between the functional equivalent of OJ's criminal versus civil case, right?
Yeah.
Such that it would warrant expungement. So the second thing that they want to do is they want to codify the expungement process into FINRA rules, because right now you can do whatever the hell you want with it. So basically, like, you can request expungement as soon as someone files a suit against you. I say, you violate my fiduciary duty.
No, sponge me down.
And then you say back, like, no, I didn't. I would like to expunge this accusation.
Yeah.
Like in a counterclaim, right? Or you can do it where I file against you, I win or lose, either way, and then afterwards you file a suit to separately to me or even to your employer. Your employer will file a suit against me to have that claim expunged.
I'm sponging you down. I'm sponging you down.
Yeah, it's a sponge back.
Yeah.
It's a sponge back, sponge bath.
Yeah.
And so you can do either one, and they're trying to make it more like formalized, right?
Yeah.
One of the weirdest things that people do is on FINRA expungement is they'll sue when you do the sponge back, right? When you like
Yes.
the second thing that we just said, okay?
Yes.
Is that they will countersue to have your record expunged, but then sue you for damages as well.
God damn it. This is
for
getting
for $1.
for $1?
They'll sue you for $1. So they're not going to just say, I want to have my record expunged for this false complaint. They're going to say, I sue you for $1 in damages for basically, and they don't even specify like what I did. You know, they'll just say, I'm going to sue you for $1 and I would like to have my record expunged. You know why they do that?
Why?
To be petty, right?
To avoid filing fees. It's all to avoid these extra fees. It's just to have to pay less money in the filing fee, because expungement as a process is more expensive to file with FINRA. It's cheaper you don't have to pay your lawyer as much, basically. Whereas if you just file for $1 in damages, the filing fees are much lower.
This is so kooky.
Yeah.
This is so kooky.
So if you look on these FINRA arbitrations for these expungement hearings, like request that we're going to sue you for $1 and expunge your entire record, and the filing fees are just like much cheaper. So this is just like a clear way for people to avoid having to pay as much to FINRA. And in theory, FINRA is the organization who they don't take tax money. They only get their money from the securities industry giving them money.
Yeah. So this is just like, so you just have you have this like complicated sort of like purposefully murky thing within an even more complicated, more purposely murky thing, like all because of arbitration.
This is a Matryoshka doll of murky.
What is Matryoshka doll?
The Russian doll. This
yeah. It's a Russian doll. Yeah.
It's so murky. We don't even call it a Russian doll. We call it a Matryoshka doll.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. I hope we I hope we have confused the hell out of you today. Like before, like during our Big Short episode, I wanted that to be as clear as possible. I want this to be fucking confusing. I want you guys to be fucking boggled and just scratching your stupid heads. You know, just wondering what this is, so you can know how fucked up it is.
And that's again, that's the whole point of arbitration, is just so that you won't understand it and you won't know about it. So we are maybe doing our job in that sense. And I guess and also the last thing they want to do is they want to limit the statute of limitations. Do you guys know what statute of limitations are?
Yeah, it's when you can say if you've done fucked up stuff. It's been long enough. If it's been long enough.
Yeah, it's the amount of time in which you can sue somebody after a crime has been committed or a civil issue has been committed.
Yeah, it's like it's like when you have somebody on a podcast, like it's like when somebody goes on Joe Rogan's podcast, but they're like a little bit older. They're just like, Yeah, man, I was selling so much crack back in the 1980s.
Yeah, because the statute of limitations on crack.
And people,
is maybe,
and they're like, yeah, I can talk about it now. Nothing bad can happen to me.
Yeah,
you know?
they talk to their lawyer beforehand, and they're like, okay, well, now I can just admit to these things.
Yeah, you can put it on your calendar and get a notification when you're free to disclose something that happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So basically, the last thing the FINRA wants to do is they want to shorten the statute of limitations for when you can seek an expungement. So you want to get rid of so there's like, this is going to get really confusing for a sec. They want to limit the amount of time that you can seek an expungement to expunge your record. So let's say 20 years ago, Danny Commit was accused of breaching my fiduciary duty.
Oh, I breached him
by putting a bidet that blew my balls off, or whatever happened financially.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
As a metaphor, and he wants to get that off of his record. Well, FINRA would want to shorten and be like, no, you have to wait. It has to be within 5 years. Of that allegation.
Yeah, because if you could just expunge something after any amount of time, then there's no, there's no way to hold anybody accountable.
Yeah, exactly. Because then let's say that someone accuses you and they win, and then 20 years later they die, and then you would say, I want to get that expunged from my record now that they're dead, and I'm not going to have them defend or litigate this. I want to get that off my record because I don't want that on my record anymore. And it's like they can just do that. Does that make sense? Why that's
Yeah, it's a little confounding, but at the same time, I get the general gist of it for sure.
No, it makes total sense to me. So they wanted to shorten the time. If you're the one who's getting who's got the mark on your record, you want to shorten the time. So ideally, I'd want it to be I'm going to commit this crime, and then I've got enough money to get it expunged tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, you want to. Exactly. Well, you want to have the ability to get it taken off of your record for as long as you want.
Yeah.
You want to be able to.
You want to play that long.
Yeah.
game.
You want to be able to have the ability to get it removed from your record indefinitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want, if that makes sense. So FINRA wants to be like, no, you can only do it within a 5-year period. They're making some of the changes. They've already they're doing the $1 nominal damages thing, the $1 suit. They're getting the specialized pool of arbitrators, and now I think they just got to shorten the statute of limitations.
I guess one thing to clarify, and one thing to clarify about this that I think is somewhat coming through is that expungement, or not just expungement, but arbitration as a whole is it kind of comes across as one of those sort of actual unity Democrat kind of things where it's not just Bernie or Elizabeth Warren who want it, but it's most people who are on the left in general, or people who even would be quite neoliberal in this case, and that the people who don't want it are just kind of evil, just bad.
It's definitely a left unity issue.
Yeah,
like with abortion or something like that.
It's
kind of on that level, and I think that's because arbitration is a lawyer's issue, and lawyers are more center left than left oftentimes.
Oh yeah,
because they're wealthier. And so they're going to be more process oriented, and we want this process to be fair, and we believe in the system and making the system good to right the wrongs of these individual people who have been harmed. Whereas the left is no, this is we need to have the working class, defend ourselves against these financial advisors who are building guns, and selling them to their friends,
building antique guns.
Yeah. And so I think that's a little bit of kind of a difference, but it is still something that matters to us as well, because any time that we interact with another agent in capitalism, there's a very reasonable chance that we are going to encounter an arbitration agreement,
and it'll just be swept under the rug. You know,
and any issues that we have, any violations of law, are essentially being swept under the rug into arbitration.
Sir, I'm trying to
turned into precedent.
Or it can't be turned into precedent.
Sir, exactly. I'm trying to sell my toothpaste, and you're trying to send me into arbitration court, sir. It hurts to do. I don't even have a corona. It hurts to do.
And so, I mean, in some ways, it's kind of like you are signing a contract to contract away your legal rights. So in essence, you are creating kind of an economic agreement that takes precedent over your legal rights.
Yeah.
It's
You
like
know?
those agreements that you get on phones every time you update your software.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where there's like, you're just like, no, you got to scroll all the way to the bottom to even get into Snapchat.
Yeah, and there's a mandatory arbitration agreement in that you have to like arbitrate in like Plano, Texas, or like Cupertino, California, or something like that. Usually it's Plano, Texas. I think there's one judge there that's like really, really, really favorable to corporations. Or like
Sir-
some arbitrators there that are really
the
favorable.
only thing I fit in my goddamn 10-gallon hat is a big old swath of Pepsi.
All right.
Just a cowboy with a hat full of soda.
I like it. I like it.
Well, guys, it feels like we've covered it all today.
I think I'm really cracking myself up. I'm really enjoying it.
All right, well, sayonara from the 10-gallon Pepsi boys.
Yeah. 10-gallon Pepsi boys.
This has been Ponzi Scream.
Yeah. All right. Stay clean out there, friends.
Yeah. All right.
Wash your
good.
hands. Hoard Purell. This is
Yeah.
Gabe Pacheco.
I'm David.
I'm Danny.
God bless you.
I'll see you later.
Love
Bye.
ya. Bye. We press stop
Yeah,
button.
we can stop it.
Okay.